No one ever told you this. At the heart of the ancient world, there was a mysterious cave where the whispers of the gods echoed. There a woman spoke, with eyes open to another realm, the Oracle of Delphi. But her story is far deeper, far more unsettling than what the history books say. This isn't just a tale of prophecy, it's the threshold to a hidden system of wisdom. So why do so few people know her real role? Have you ever wondered? If a woman could hear the voice of the gods when she closed her eyes, then why can't we still hear it today? In the heart of the ancient world, among rugged cliffs, there was a cave, seemingly ordinary, but inside a force strong enough to stop the flow of time itself. And deep within that cave, a woman, the Oracle of Delphi, spoke in a trance, and the world held its breath to listen. But here's what no one ever told you. This woman didn't just see the future. She was a bridge between consciousness and the unknown. And what she spoke wasn't just prophecy, it was a call to awakening. So why do so few know what she truly did? Why is her name mentioned only in mythology, while the real knowledge stays hidden? This isn't forgetfulness, this is a cover-up. Because Delphi wasn't just a place to speak of the future, it was where an inner revolution began, and your journey begins now. In this series, we'll bring to light a wisdom buried between the dusty lines of history. I want you to ask yourself, what if prophecy isn't just in the past, but still within us? Delphi wasn't chosen by chance. It's said to be the place where an ancient serpent named Python died, a point beating in the heart of Gaia herself. In ancient Greece, this place was considered the navel of the world, but why was it chosen as a divine channel? Was there a lost geographical secret hidden between underground gases, magnetic fields, and mystical prophecies? Sometimes a place might look like just an ordinary piece of stone, but if that stone has kept a secret for thousands of years, it's no longer just a stone. Delphi was one of those places. In the heart of ancient Greece, at the foot of Mount Parnassus, a spot once believed to be the center of the world. But why there? Legends say Apollo killed the great serpent Python here. But is that just a myth, or a symbol masking a much older energy? Because Delphi was not only a geographical but also an energetic center. Here a sweet yet toxic gas rose from underground, ethylene, and this gas induced trance. It was no coincidence that Pythia fell into a state of ecstasy during her prophecies. There was something in those vapors rising from deep within the earth, something that revealed the unseen, that let you hear the unheard. But be careful. This wasn't just a physical effect. Behind Delphi being chosen as the navel of the world was an ancient architecture of knowledge. In the ancient world, people didn't just build temples, they built at energy points. And Delphi stood exactly where those lines crossed, a map of knowledge you've never heard of. And now we're opening that map. So who were the ones who chose this place? And why was the Gate of Prophecy built on a land sanctified by the blood of a serpent? Now we'll get to know that mysterious voice of Delphi up close, Pythia. But first I want to ask you something. If the Earth is an organism, could Delphi be its heartbeat? Pythia wasn't a priestess, she was a channel. But what made her special? Why did she tremble during her prophecies? Why did she enter trance states? Was this just theater? Or was she truly in contact with another dimension? In this episode, we take a deep journey through Pythia's rituals, physical reactions, and states of consciousness. She wasn't a queen, not a prophetess, not just a priestess either. She was a bridge walking between two worlds, Pythia. On the 7th day of each month, under Apollo's sacred light, she would descend into that cave, and inside something would happen. She would begin to tremble. Her pupils dilated, her voice would become hoarse, her words unintelligible. But then a sentence would fall from her lips, short, cryptic, deep. And everyone would understand. The gods had spoken. But now I'm asking you the real question. Was this just a performance? Or was there truly contact with another dimension? Ancient sources write that Pythia would undergo long preparations before prophesying, purification rituals, washing in sacred water, chewing bay leaves, and then that state induced by the rising gases from the cave. Modern science calls it a hallucination, but according to ancient teachings, it was the moment the third eye opened, a kind of inner journey, a shift in consciousness. And what's interesting is Pythia was no ordinary person. There were criteria to be chosen, a pure heart, sincere intent, and naturally strong intuition, because the gods didn't speak through just any ears, but some ears heard differently. So how were Pythia's prophecies delivered? Each was full of symbols, but symbols only opened doors for those who wanted to understand. Now think, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, it keeps me motivated and helps me make more videos. This woman shaped the destiny of thousands. Kings, generals, philosophers awaited her words. But where do you think she received those words from? Now we'll decode the language behind those prophecies, because the secret is always hidden behind the words. And if words are keys, what door are you about to unlock? Why were the words that came from Pythia's mouth so cryptic and symbolic? And how did these riddle-like sentences shape the fate of kings, wars, and entire civilizations? In this episode, we decode the secret language behind the prophecies, their multi-layered meanings, and the concept of guided destiny. An army will cross the river, and a great empire shall fall. When Pythia said this, only one question echoed in everyone's mind: which empire? But she didn't say, because she spoke in codes. Delphi's prophecies weren't straightforward statements. They were messages wrapped in layers, shrouded in symbols. And that's why even the most brilliant minds had to ponder for hours, even days, just to grasp them. So why were they so convoluted? Why didn't the gods speak directly? Because true knowledge is only given to those who are ready. Because truth must seek you out. Otherwise, it's just another voice in the crowd. Look, behind these cryptic prophecies there were three layers: the surface meaning, the metaphorical meaning, and the deep intuitive meaning. And the prophecies received in Delphi were not meant to be heard with your ears, but with your heart. Pythia's words could start a war, but those same words could also form the foundation of a peace treaty. So in the end, the prophecy would take shape according to the inner world of the interpreter. And here we face that ancient question: does prophecy determine fate, or does fate draw prophecy toward itself? That's where Delphi's secret lies. It doesn't hand you a map. It redefines your sense of direction. Now think, if you were to receive an answer from a Pythia to one of your life's questions, would you be able to understand it? Because sometimes the answer is already within us. But in order to understand it, first, we must decode ourselves. And now we approach episode 5, the political power of prophecy. Why did empires bow to Pythia? Delphi wasn't just a center of prophecy, it was also the head of the most powerful strategy table in history. If you're ready, let's lift the veil on this power together. For centuries, Delphi was seen as the most sacred place in the world. But then one day, it fell silent. Why? Was it silenced by Rome? Suppressed by Christianity? Or was the knowledge simply too dangerous? In this episode, we explore how a system of wisdom was systematically erased, and why only silent stones were left behind. Once, people from all over the world, with offerings in hand, questions in mind, and hope in heart, flowed to Delphi. It wasn't just a center of prophecy, it was a pole of wisdom. But then one day everything went silent. No more Pythia, no more whispers of the gods. So why? Why did Delphi disappear from history? Some blamed Rome. Because Rome wanted to control prophecy for its own gain. And when it no longer served them, they silenced it. Others pointed to Christianity, because the rise of the new religion declared anything connected to the old gods as paganism. And Delphi stood as a stronghold of wisdom against that transformation. But the truth might go much deeper, because what was offered in Delphi wasn't just visions of the future, it was a confrontation with one's true self. And such knowledge makes you question, it liberates, and that is authority's greatest fear. Think about it. If everyone learned to listen to the voice within, why would they need rulers, kings, or churches? That's why the silencing of Delphi wasn't a coincidence. It was a decision, a conspiracy of silence, and what remains? Just stones. Just a broken temple. But they forgot one thing. Stones may be silent, but they remember. And now we're here to listen to what those stones remember. Because in the next episode, I'll take you into an even deeper question. From prophecy to personal awakening, Delphi's legacy in the modern world. Delphi may have been silenced, but what if its wisdom still echoes inside us? If you've subscribed to the channel, let's keep listening to the voice within the silence. Was prophecy merely a vision or a guide for one's inner journey? Could there be an esoteric system behind Delphi, one that sought to decode the depths of the soul? In this episode, we trace the footprints of mystical schools and secret teachings within Delphi. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Perhaps the deepest question of the entire series. What if prophecy wasn't just about seeing the future? What if the real purpose was to remind you of who you are? The secrets of Delphi weren't just in the words spoken, but in what was left unsaid. Because every sentence that poured from Pythia's trembling body was a symbol, a code, and perhaps an inner map. Mystical schools have whispered this for thousands of years. Prophecy is not an external event. It is the echo of an internal awakening. Delphi was more than a temple, it was a school. But this school didn't teach with books, it taught with silence, symbols, and states of consciousness. Only the chosen ones, or rather, those who were ready, could touch these teachings. So what was this lost code? It was all about inner transformation. Know thyself was inscribed at the entrance of Delphi, but this wasn't just philosophical advice, it was a code. Because these prophecies were an inward descent into one's own shadow, one's own light, one's own truth. Entering trance, speaking with gods, delivering messages through symbols. These weren't just rituals, but ancient techniques to decode the layers of the soul. Esoteric traditions carried Delphi's wisdom into their own systems. The Hermetics, the Gnostics, the Pythagoreans, all were echoes of the inner wisdom system Delphi once held. But over time, this system was erased. The language of the symbol was forgotten, and what remained was only myth. But now, here, we're following the traces of that lost language, because prophecy doesn't begin outside, it begins within. And on this journey, you're no longer alone. The doors we've opened in this series are paths to the wisdom within you. Now be ready, because now I will carry you beyond time. You thought Delphi was silent, didn't you? No, Delphi is still speaking. But to hear it, you must open your heart to the silence. You now know the story of Delphi, but the real question is, was prophecy only happening there? What if Pythia's voice has always echoed within all of us? In this episode, I invite you to the quiet wisdom inside you, because true prophecy doesn't come from the outside, it rises from within. You know Delphi now. The stones, the caves, the prophecies. But now I want to ask you the most important question. Where was Delphi really? On the mountainside of Greece? Or within you? Because Pythia's voice didn't vanish inside a stone chamber. That voice still wants to be heard. And maybe the message you've been waiting for is actually coming from within you. Look, we all wonder about the future sometimes. What will happen? What should I do? Which path should I take? But here's what Delphi taught us. The future doesn't come to you from the outside. The future is written by the choice within you. The woman we call the one who spoke with gods, Pythia, was maybe just reminding us of one thing. If you listen to the silence, the universe will whisper. And in that moment, prophecy is not a display of power, but a moment of awakening. Do you know who your inner Pythia is? It's the voice that whispers in a moment of intuition. It's the day you changed direction on instinct. It's the moment you said, I don't know why, but I have to do this. All of these are echoes of the ancient wisdom system within you. They say Delphi went silent, but the place silenced wasn't a cave, it was within us. Now I make just one invitation to you. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what part of me knows? What is my voice whispering? Because true prophecy doesn't come from the outside, it comes from within. And when you're ready, that voice has already begun to speak. If this journey gave you something, if it lit a spark in your thoughts, then share this wisdom with someone else. Leave a comment, share the question or the answer from your heart, and subscribe, because this wasn't an ordinary simple story. This was your journey, and the journey is just beginning. And just like that, the Lost Prophecy series is complete. But the real secret is still within you, and only you can awaken it. If you're ready, we're closing this series, but we're also ready to begin new and mysterious ones. I'll be waiting for you with new topics again. Until the next journey, know thyself.